Welcome to FESPA, and I am going to show you a demonstration how to wrap a door handle. So I've brought a few different examples of door handles that we have, just to talk about the difference and how we would actually wrap them. So as you can see, I've got 4 door handles here, all different colours, all different shapes, all different sizes. So as we can see from this one, we have a keyless entry here on the top of the door handle, as well as with this grey one here, this also has keyless entry. So it's something to think about when we're installing. This is the small parts, the small areas, the parts in detail that are really important. On this handle as well, underneath all of the cut marks, we actually have a completely separate panel in the door handle, whereas this one doesn't. This one is all in one, where we would join and seam through the center of the handle. These two, the black and white one, quite nice and simple door handles. There's nothing to work around. We've got no keyless entry, no points where we need to make sure that we're really focusing or anything difficult. So we've got some nice standard easy door handles, and I'm going to demonstrate to you how to complete this wrap. So material-wise, we are working with Arlon SLX, and this is printed onto a HP. So we have a gentleman from HP here, and he's going to talk to us about what machine is this printed on.
As well. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that's better. So we have white ink as well, which means now we can print on colored medias, metallic medias, transparent medias, which makes it slightly more interesting creatively for you as well.
Absolutely. So for me as an installer, latex is the way to go. Solvent, we have that outgassing process. We are a big fan in our business of a latex printer. We actually have a HP latex ourselves, and we have done for a long period of time. We actually moved away to a solvent printer for about 4 or 5 years, and we've actually come back to HP latex now again, purely for the ease.
Never speak badly about any other printer.
Oh, absolutely not. But for an installer, the latex gives us the ability to be flexible and a lot faster with installation. And for us, that's what we need. So that's why I really rate working with a latex printer.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be around. Okay.
So continuing on with our door handle, we're always looking at our high risk of failing areas. So on a door handle, there are a couple of different areas that are high risk of failing areas, which means if they're going to foul, they're going to be your top points of failure. So we've got the nose of the door handle just right here. This is a part where a customer sees very quickly if there is going to be a failure, particularly if it's the driver's door handle. And we also have these 2 deep concaves underneath. If we're going to get a failure, if we overstretch these, this is where it's going to come from. So my method of installation when I'm working on a door handle is not actually to start with the easiest part. Most people will lay their material on top. They will stretch it on the nose of that door handle, and that's where a failure will become. So we've already determined that this is a high risk of failing area. So why do we want to stretch it there? We don't. So I'm going to do something slightly different when I'm installing. So instead of laying onto the top of the door handle and creating all my stretch on the nose, I am actually going to start off underneath the front of the door handle. Instantly, I'm going to reduce all of my stretch and all of my tension from the nose of that handle, because I'm actually going to start there. So I'm going to flash a little bit of heat on the front. I'm going to hold a little bit of tension backwards. I'm going to get that nose hugged. There will be no stretch on the door handle. I'm going to have no failure. And I can go and sleep at night knowing that it's not going to foul. So it's about being a confident installer and how we do this. So I've hooked it on the front, as we can see, and I'm just going to flash it with some heat. Small little tug backwards, and instantly I have got a hug around the front of the nose. So I'm not worried about anything else at the moment. I'm only worried about the front nose of that door handle. So that's my first point. Tick, I'm happy, okay? Now I'm just going to straighten out the material at the top, just with a little bit of heat. Now in my workshop, I would usually have a clamp. I would have the material, well, the handle clamped down so I haven't got all of this mess when I'm working just with my hands. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring my clamp with me because it definitely would have taken my suitcase overweight. I did try. I do. So I'm just straightening out the top. This bit's nice and easy. Just creating a little bit of heat. And now all of this mess on top has been cleared up. We can see the nose of this door handle is absolutely flawless at the front. And if I flash it with some heat, there will be no movement that comes from that material. Nothing has moved at all. Meaning I'm confident with my installation. And once again, I'm going to sleep at night. So, now moving on to our next high risk of failing area. We know that we've got this under here and under here, okay? These two deep concaves. That's my next problem that I want to get to the bottom of, okay? This bit here is nice and easy, nice and flat. Not going to foul because it won't foul on a flat surface. But under here, I need to make sure I get this bit right. So, what we will see from the nose of this door handle is this looks nice. Flush, hugged material. And you'll notice that I've got two pockets of excess here and here on the sides. So hopefully what you're thinking if you're an installer is where I'm going to take that excess material. And what I am going to do is I'm going to move my excess from the side under into my next high risk of failing area, okay? We talk about heat distribution and manipulation of the material. It's what we do as installers. That's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to use the heat from the heat gun to warm the material, and I'm going to simply maneuver it myself. With a little bit of tension, and I'm going to pull the material round from this corner under to the inside of the handle. With a flash of heat, I'm actually going to direct it backwards. And now what you will notice is that all of that excess is now gone from the side of the door handle. And I've moved it actually to the inside part of the door handle. And if I lay this back area nice and flat, you'll instantly see the difference between the tension that I've got here and here. So we know the job that I'm doing, again, I'm confident with my installation, it's not going to fail under there. So those main points of failure, tick, tick, I'm happy. I'm not going to see that customer again. They're not coming back to me to rectify a door handle, which is very, very easy to foul. It's easy to overstretch, and it's easy to create a failure. So I'm just going to do exactly the same on the other side. Just flashing a little bit of heat. I'm just directing that backwards so my excess falls into that high risk of failing area. Okay? So, now I've got those two areas sorted. I'm halfway there with this one underneath here, under into the recess. And now we've just got to finish it off. So, I've brought the excess into that area to help me out. But now, we still don't want to create an overstretch in these two tight corners here, okay? So, I've already mentioned about heat distribution and how we manipulate the material, and that's what I'm going to do next. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to warm. I'm I'm going to flash a little bit of heat into my two corners here and here. I'm going to make the material flexible and conformable. If it is too cold, the material isn't going to move for you. This is a cast material. It's made to stretch. It's made to be flexible and conformable, but I need heat to do that, okay? So I'm going to flash my heat in these two corners, and then I'm actually going to put the majority of my heat, so I'm going to make sure that there's more heat down the center. The idea is that this material in the center that sits on a flat surface that cannot fail is going to break apart into my two deep recesses. I've instantly made that high risk of failing area become no risk at all because I'm manipulating the material, okay? So, like I said, I'm going to flash here and here, put the majority in the center, and then with my thumbs, I'm simply going to just roll that material in, okay? So flashing in the corners, heat in the center, working nice and quick. I'm rolling my thumbs into the recess. The stretch comes from the center, and I can now iron out anything in the middle that I need. Now, if you do need to repeat that step, you absolutely can, because the main aim is that we need to create a seam down the center of the door handle. Now, as it goes, at the moment, I'm probably about 2/3 of the way there. So I'm going to pop another little bit of heat, and I'm going to do exactly the same step. So a flash in either corner, right down the center with the majority of the heat. And again, I'm just going to roll that all the way and iron out anything in the middle that I've got. We don't leave any creases, any pockets of air, nothing behind. We have to get everything out. As an installer, as a vehicle wrapper, perfection is everything. We have to have an eye for detail. So I'm making sure that I am getting to the bottom of all of this. And you'll have something that looks like that. And now I'm going to cut all of this excess material off. So my main aim, one, I don't cut the paintwork, which unfortunately you're not going to know on this because these are my training handles, which means there's lots of cut marks underneath, not by me, by students. So I'm going to cut through the vinyl, making sure that I don't cut into the paintwork. And then we're going to remove that material, and we're going to hope that I've cut that completely straight down the center. We don't want no wavy cuts. As I said, what we do is perfection. Everything is eye for detail, okay? A top tip is to make sure that we've got a nice fresh blade. If we've got a blunt blade, that is going to do more damage because you will put more pressure down on your knife. We want to trust the blade, that the blade is going to be working for us. Before I cut, I'm just making sure I'm ironing everything out because once I've cut it, I can't go back to it. And I'm just making a nice straight cut down the center. Nice and light on the blade. My aim is literally just to pop a little bit of pressure onto the top of the film. The idea is that I'm trying to score the face film of the material, not cutting the adhesive. And we will be left with a nice straight cut that goes through the middle. Okay? And I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So as a reminder, I'm going to flash either corner, heat straight through the center. I'm rolling that material. The stretch is coming from the center. I'm just allowing that to cool for one moment. And we're just going to iron out everything else in between, making sure that we're not leaving any creases, no bubbles. And if we need to repeat that step again, we absolutely can do. So once again, for the last time, I'm flashing the two corners, heating through the center, rolling my thumbs around, ironing out all of the creases that are falling behind me if they are. And that will make us ready now to cut on our final top coat. And this cut that I'm going to complete next, it's almost the money cut. I don't want to cut through 2 pieces of vinyl. If I do, looks like I'm starting the handle again, because we'll end up splicing the material and we'll create a weak spot. So I am now fully wrapped on the other side. I'm just going to pop a relief cut in here and here, just to move the material out of my way, just so I've really got access to cut this. And my recommendation is, if you're a beginner, if you're installing these handles for the very first time, or maybe for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time, you will get quicker, you will get more confident with your blade. Or you may want to use knifeless tape in this area if you're not so confident. So now I am going to cut between 2.5 and 5 millimeters over to create a seam, okay? Once again, I've got a nice fresh blade. I'm going super light. The aim is not to cut through the vinyl and to create a nice 5 mil overlap. In an ideal world, we don't want anything more than that. And I'm working with the printed media. I'm working with Arlon SLX through a HP latex. So the latex is making these inks nice and easy to work with. My print clearly isn't going to match because it's not made to match. But in the center is a nice straight 2.5 mil overlap. I'm going to flash that with a little bit of heat. I'm going to seal my edges. I will absolutely be post-heating this area after, because it is still a stretched area. It doesn't matter that I've created it to be a low risk of failing area. We still need to make sure that we are post-heating those areas to give it a new memory, for it to stay exactly where I want it to stay. And now I'm just tidying up the edges. I'm just making sure that we can get a nice finish around all of these edges. Again, I'm just using a little bit of heat. The heat makes your materials flexible and conformable. They are not going to conform without a flash of heat, okay? So what is important when you're using a cast vinyl is that we are using heat. It's not about trying to install without any heat whatsoever. It's about using heat, but using it in the right places, the right amount. And I am just cutting a few millimeters around the edge. And I want to make a point of saying it's not about covering every single element underneath the handle. It's about creating a cut to get a full coverage, just 2, 3, 4, 5 mil around the corner, no more than 5 millimeters though. We don't want to be wrapping all the way in here and cutting, because it's more reason for a failure. And we don't want to do that at all. We always try and be safe when we're installing. And I'm just on the other side of the handle, just again creating a few millimeters around, just to get a full coverage look. but not with all of that excess. So when I pull these away, what you'll see, again, maximum of 5 millimeters all the way just around that handle. So either side, I'm just going to flash this now with a little bit of heat, just to seal all of our edges. And then finally, last but not least, we just have this back edge to deal with. Lots of different ways that we can finish this, but for me, it's all about being safe, okay? There are a couple of things that I think about when I'm wrapping a door handle. And the first thing will always be, what is the base colour of the car that I am wrapping in comparison to the colour that I am wrapping? So if I've got a white base, which I do on this handle, I will not wrap this all in one. I'm going to trim this off just like I have done here and here, but with a white base after, I will actually put a piece over the top. And the reason for that is because I don't manufacture the vehicles, but I'm sure if you're an installer, you may have worked on a Ford or a Volkswagen, and when they manufacture these two parts together, where we have the key lock here and then the handle here, these parts actually rub together. Or they can be very, very, very small, meaning that when there is a piece of vinyl on this edge and there is a piece of vinyl on the lock edge, over time they rub together. And what happens is this piece of material will foul. Your customer will ring you, your customer will come back and say, my door handle is failing, I need you to fix it. And all I need to do is open the door handle, remove that piece of vinyl and send them on their way. Yes, that area may be white, but what I will have done is wrapped around the edge still, so I've got a full coverage look. And it's not until the door handle is open and closed that you can see it. But we need to remember, we're not painters. We don't paint, we wrap. There is a difference between wrap and paint. If we need to pop a piece on top, we can, but fixing the failure becomes a lot easier. Means your customer is a hell of a lot happier because they're going to leave and you've fixed it after 5 minutes. Not after 2 hours, removing all 4 handles, rewrapping them. It's an easy, quick fix for us. So I am going to just lift this piece of material using a little bit of heat, just how we have done. I'm just coming round the edge. And I am going to, exactly how I finish these edges here, I'm going to finish exactly the same here. Again, flush it with a little bit of heat just to heat and seal those edges. Got a little bit hot. And I'm just going to seal all of my edges whilst I'm here. And what you have now got is one complete door handle, a really, really nice edge on the nose, and a really nice seam straight down the middle. Ready? If anyone has any questions, by all means give me a shout and ask. But there we go. There's one demonstration on a door handle for low risk of failing areas and for you to be a confident installer.